Ra Hogan for the Boxing Voice. I'm here with top management personality, celebrity, Shane Watson. How are you?
I don't know if we could call me all those things, but top manager, I'll take that one though. Hopefully, anyway, one day.
Getting there.
But no, but good thanks, really good. Press conference today, Johnny Fisher, top table, shall we call him, Mr. Top Table. Yeah, looking good. Got to meet his opponent for the first time today. Really tall actually. Well, we knew he was going to be tall, but yeah, really good thanks. Really good. How are you?
Oh yeah, I'm fab. All the more so for being here and meeting Johnny for the first time. I mean, as his manager, just want to ask you something. He seems to be. Is there a pressure to move him quickly simply because of his box office appeal?
I mean, that's actually the tricky thing with Johnny, because he's knocking everyone out and doing it in pretty good fashion. You've got all the fans going mental, and there's such a hype around Johnny Fisher. It becomes very hard to hold him back, but it's absolutely key for Johnny's future and his career that we do hold him back. If we don't, an accident can happen, especially in heavyweight division. He's 22 years old. He finished his uni degree not that long ago. He actually didn't have like a mass amateur. All he did was have a few university fights, but I think he knocked them all out in the first round as well. So it's very important you hold him back. He's looking very good at this level. He looked very good at sparring. He's sparring people like Tyson Fury, more than holding his own. Sparring people like Joe Joyce, more than holding his own. Sparring everyone. Marius Wack also, more than holding his own, getting better than some of these guys. And so even then it makes you feel like, oh, maybe we could push him on. But no, listen, he's got a very good contract under Matchroom and his own. You've got to move him very slowly when he's ready. This even is a little step up. This guy beat the guy that he fought in his last fight, Torero, for the Spanish heavyweight champion. So he beat him for the Spanish title. So it's like a small step up. And we'll do that every time and time again. So that's the plan with Johnny Fisher. But yeah, no, it is hard to hold him back because when he's so explosive, he's got so much power and he's got so much ambition, they always want to keep pushing on. But no, we're going to have to hold him back, definitely.
As you mentioned, he's got size, he's got power. I think Eddie alluded to this in the case of AJ. You can get so far with size and power, but when you get to the very top level, technical ability probably is more of a factor. So if you haven't got the technical side of things right whilst you've got the chance, i.e. at this level, it's very hard to play catch up, as AJ found with Usyk. Is that what you're referring to when you talk about having to hold him back?
Well, yeah, that's what we're doing. We're trying to develop his whole ring craft here. Well, I say we, I'm not a trainer, Mark Tippers, but that's the plan. Trying to develop his whole ring craft, work off of his jab, work the body, break fighters down. Don't like mentally crumble if you don't get the fighter out within the first couple of rounds. You've got all things he's got to learn throughout his whole journey. And we're on that journey now, and Johnny Fisher's slowly getting there. And he's got 7 fights this year. He's meant to have 7 fights this year, right? And this is just number 1. So he's got to be very careful how we match him, see how we get on. Take each fight as it comes, and then you've got to get through this guy first and foremost. You can't look too far ahead and think about this and that guy. Let's get this guy out of the way. By far he's toughest test. You've got to get him out of the way, and then we'll look to see who we get next.
I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I remember a time when it was normal for prospects to go 20 and 30-0.
Yeah. Of
course, that was a time when you didn't have all sorts of armchair experts analysing every punch on YouTube. Is that a problem now that the fighters don't get the 20 knockovers where they might be working on very subtle things, but there's that expectation, well, you've knocked over 2 or 3 journeymen, start stepping up.
Yeah. Well, that's down to a good manager and a good trainer, isn't it? I mean, there could be the pressure, but you don't put your fighter in a fight that you don't believe they can win. Listen, they might not win. Even if you believe in them, it doesn't mean they win, but we go again. But if you don't believe a fighter's going to win a fight, they shouldn't be in there. So if it goes up to 18-0, and that's when we put him in the deep end, it goes to 18-0, we monitor as we get on. We're not going to be put under pressure by anybody. So go into a fight that we think is too risky for our guy at the end of the day. We know he's still developing all the time. We're always going to be developing all the time. We know he's still very novice at the moment, as much as he's looking great and he's improving all the time. But we're not where we need to be yet to go into those deep waters yet. Eventually when he is, we'll go in there. But no one's going to pressure us and make us feel like we have to. At the end of the day, that's what a good management team does and a good trainer does. And that's why we work together as a team, and that's why it's worked so well so far.
Would you be happy to get Johnny off the sort of big TV shows if necessary? Go back to small hall shows, because he'll still sell those out, clearly. If you need to get him away from the spotlight to carry on his education.
No, I think he's made for the big TV shows. I think he's done great with it so far. I think the world loved him from what they've seen of him so far. He's very humble. He knows his level. I feel like anyone would be very silly to try and suggest that he's got to step up so early on. And I think everyone's on the same page with that. So I wouldn't really want him to go to small because I feel like he's made for the big shows. Look, again, he's chief support on a massive card again. So he's made for the big shows. It's not like maybe some other fighters that have carried a family name and got put high up on a card, but they had no ability. Well, not low abilities, and they're just there because of their family name. Johnny came here out of nowhere and made a little bit of a name for himself, and he's knocking guys out. He's not losing to journeymen or having close fights with journeymen, you know. So I feel like maybe if that was happening to you, that'd be something to talk about. But he's knocking guys out cold and winning fights very easily. I know it's not at such a level, but he will be moving up the levels. He ain't going to be fighting these guys all the time. We're going to be fighting guys with good winning records coming to us by the end of the year anyway. So it's not a matter of just fighting. Because this guy's not a journeyman anyway. Like, you can't be a champion and be a journeyman. Listen, he won rounds against Oscar Rivas and lost on points. This guy is a tough customer anyway. But records can be deceiving sometimes. Like Kamil Sokolowski's the same one. Records can be very deceiving. You can't always look too much into them. So no, like Johnny Fisher will always be fighting on a big stage, 100%.
That sounds like quite a quick movement for Johnny then, because he's what, 22?
Yeah.
I mean, modern heavyweights. I mean, if we're going to use, say, the Olympians as a measuring stick, look at Hrgovic and Yoka. They're what, 30 years old. Only now they're just about to be on the cusp of world level.
Yeah.
I know they've got great reputations, but really, have they really beaten anyone to deserve world title shots? But they're in the world title scene. Given Johnny's 22, using them as as a yardstick, you could easily get away with what, 4 years of development, at least.
Well, the thing is for Johnny, I think, so he needs to start fighting like towards the end of the year, maybe early next year, like smaller domestic names, like maybe like your Mark Bennett's and people like that. The guys with winning records are going to come and give it a good go, and I'd expect Johnny to come out on top. Then you can start building up that, and I'd like for Johnny to maybe fight for like a British or Commonwealth title before the end of next year, around that time. Obviously, monitoring the progress fight by fight. I'm just saying this is the long-term plan I'm thinking ahead at the moment. So, if you want it along that, age is one thing, but he grafts harder than anyone I've ever seen in my life. He sometimes can jump ahead, but we just got to monitor as he gets on. I think he could beat people like that now, but if you beat people like that now, then you're already trapped in such a high level and you're in deep waters now. Then you've got to fight people like Fabio Wardley, Nathan Gorman, and I'm not even saying he wouldn't win those fights, because I think he would. But then you've got to be at that level and you've got to keep going on and pushing on, keep pushing on, and that's where you have to be careful. It's all well having a good fight against a very good guy and beating him, but then you've got to jump even higher than the next time, and that's what you've got to think. That's why you don't want to run before you can walk. That's what we're trying to do.
I'm sure you and Adam will move in correctly. A couple of the other fighters, Lerrone making great waves. Spoke to Dave Caldwell on Saturday. He said he'd be happy for Lerrone to go in with Canelo. Highly unlikely to happen, I think we agree. But is it fair to say he's ready for a world title shot?
Yeah, do you know what? It's a bit frustrating actually this week. I think there's been a lot of lack of respect shown towards Lerrone Richards around this fight week. We're talking about super middleweights, I've not heard his name mentioned once, and I find it quite disrespectful. I think after that last fight against Kongora, who is evidently a very high world level fighter, after what he did to Ali Akhmedov, who was meant to be the second coming of Triple G and whatnot, and I feel like for a big super middleweight fight, for Lerrone's name not to be mentioned much this week, I think it's very disrespectful. I think Lerrone is very much world level. I think Lerrone can hold his own with any of those world champions. I think he can beat any of those world champions. And I don't think it is ridiculous to mention his name in the same sentence as Canelo. Kongora was meant to be the stepping opponent when Billy Joe was going to pull out. Kongora was going to step in. And he just beat Kongora a bit more comfortably than what the judges suggested as well. So why can't we name him in the same sentence? If you're going to name other fighters that I've been seeing lately in the same line for Canelo, why can't he be named in there? He's a slippery southpaw, awkward, great chin. He makes a good fight for any of those guys anyway. Listen, I get that you might have to have a few more world level fights before you can legitimately call him out, and I get that. What Dave's saying is he believes ability-wise he'll put him in there. So it's a bit different. Name-wise, we've got a bit more work to do. But ability-wise, yeah, 100% I believe he could go there and mix it. 100%. I've seen him beat up people close to Canelo's level in sparring and whatnot for a long, long time. So I believe in Lerrone, I believe in his ability, and I think he's ready for anyone. And we will. That's what we're working on now. We're working on some good names for him to fight next.
Fair to say, though, as a slippery southpaw with a decent chin, as you said, not many people are going to be queuing up to want to fight him.
No, that's the problem. That's the problem. Where Lerrone hasn't maybe got the profile, doesn't maybe produce the magnificent paydays for opponents, and obviously the style it's almost like a nightmare all round. But now he's got a bit of jewellery, he's got an IBO title. It's a bit more that people would want to fight for now. He's got a bit more like reward at the end of the fight. So there's a bit more that Lerrone's got to offer other opponents now. So it makes it a bit more exciting. It makes it a bit more like luxury, should we say, for an opponent. But we'll see. I think we're quite close to getting Lerrone in the next fight now.
And Lerrone Marku needs no introduction.
The Albanian king.
I mean, he had that really good win against Dazn.
Yeah.
I mean, that was quite a jump up in level.
Yeah.
Don't know what sort of ranking it got him with the IBF.
12,
but,
number 12.
Okay, so 12. So he's on the periphery of the world level now. But yeah, well, what sort of fight are you trying to get for him next?
So he's going to be fighting, I think. Probably shouldn't really say about set anyway. April 2nd, I think, in England, on a Boxer Sky Sports show. Looking at opponents now, I think the kind of levels opponents that he needs to go in with now, like the levels of Chris Jenkins, who just beat Donga on the weekend. He's a 2-time British champion, I think. Maybe like Chris Jenkins, Victor Ortiz. Like, we're looking at them kind of guys now. I think he needs to step it up now. He's got a new trainer with Grant Smith, gelling very well early doors. Got a new strength and conditioning coach in Danny Wilson, who's obviously exceptional. I think he's going really well for and I'm really excited about his future. We're going to be fighting in August in Albania in a massive fight across the National Stadium. 30,000 people, it's going to be unbelievable. And the journey for him, it could end up anywhere because of his superstar status and everything he's got behind him. But the fight we really want is if he'd be ringside at Khan Brook. He wants to fight Amir Khan on Sky pay-per-view after that. That's what he wants to do.
Seems to be a lot of people wanting to fight Khan or Brook. That failing that though, I mean, well, in the case of similarly with Conor Ben, what do these young upcoming fighters get out of fighting Khan or Brook at this stage of them?
I think number one, it propel you up the rankings. I think number two, it doesn't propel you up the rankings. It's a massive profile fight. You earn a lot of money. Everyone earns a lot of money. Propels you up the rankings, increases your name, shows you're serious, and it propels you onto that world scene. I mean, they're both respectable names in the welterweight division, both been at world level, maybe not world level anymore, but once upon a time they were. 110 elite level fighters in their divisions actually. So why wouldn't you want to fight them? And it would sell out any arena, maybe stadium in the UK as well, to a certain capacity. So why wouldn't anyone want to be a part of that? Lerrone Marku is a great fighter, he's obviously great for the public as well. Like the viewing because he produces and the antics he has at press conferences, it provides for a fun fight week, wouldn't it? So I think that's what Lerrone Marku wants.
But given he's such a big draw, I think it's plausible to entice a world champion. I mean, we might get a 3-belt unified champion later in the year between Spence and Ugas. Think we could entice one of them into a big fight with him?
What, with Florian and the world champions?
Yeah.
I think at the moment, I think he'll be realistic. He's not near that level yet. I think he needs a lot of time to gel with his new trainer Grant and see what they can do and what they can pull out together. But look, down the line, maybe in 2 years or so, we'll see where Florian's at level-wise, who's the current world champion at that time. Listen, what are you in the sport for? People can criticise people for taking chances like that. What are you in the sport for? To be number one and be a world champion. Lerrone Marku isn't in the sport for anything other than that. So you have to take them kind of fights down the line and see how you get on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Shane, it's a pleasure speaking to you.
Yep.
And yeah, we look forward to seeing how all of those fights come to fruition.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for speaking to the Boxing Voice.
Enjoy the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.